In this video, we're going over the new best settings to use here in Black Ops 6 Season 3. This is going to be the season that you're going to drastically improve your aim, accuracy, as well as gun skill. If that sounds good, feel free, drop a like in the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on those post notifications, and let's get into it. As you can see, I play with an Xbox Elite controller on PC with one paddle on the back, the short paddle set up for jumping. These settings are going to work no matter what controller you are playing with, and also no matter what console you are playing on. I got you guys covered. Now for the button layout, we are going to be running with tactical. Tactical is going to be the absolute best button layout to play on here in Black Ops 6 because it is going to remap your crouch and prone button so you can get in and out of cover a lot faster, perform a drop shot, and still be aimed down sight, which is going to be a drastic help when trying to win those close range gunfights. Make sure you guys make the switch. Even with a controller with paddles on the back, tactical is the best button layout to play on. Now you can see here my horizontal and vertical stick sensitivity is set to 0.6. Whenever you are trying to drastically improve your aim, accuracy, and gun skill, I highly recommend playing within the 1.2 to 1.6 sensitivity window. This is going to be roughly a 4 and a 6/7 sensitivity range. It's going to give you plenty of movement to turn on other players, complete 360, or if you just need to do a 180 to turn on players, but you're also going to have accuracy at longer ranges, and that's where I feel a lot of players fall short. It's easy to take somebody out at close range. It's that medium to long range gunfight where people are missing shots and losing the gunfight. This sensitivity is going to make sure that you have enough movement, but also accurate enough to outgun players at longer ranges. Everything else here is going to be the same. My controller vibration is turned off. The reason I turn off vibration is so I don't have any unnecessary play in my controller that could potentially throw off my aim and accuracy at those longer ranges. This is going to be a setting where you either turn off and never turn it back on, or turn it off and maybe you like the vibration effect when firing weapons. For me personally, I like to go ahead and keep it shut off. Now here are my dead zone settings. Dead zones are going to be dependent on your own controller health. My controller is developing a little bit of stick drift because I've used it for so many years, but again, that's just going to be the reality of playing the game every single day with a controller that you've had for multiple years. Now, under the controller aimings tab, we have to make some fine-tuned adjustments with the sensitivity multiplier. Now, what you want to do is go down to the AES sensitivity multiplier as well as focus. You want to set this to 0.7. It's going to be 1 on default, but the reason we want to go ahead and adjust this is because when you set both of these to 0.7, it's going to reduce a lot of that unnecessary stick play, so you're going to be a lot more accurate when trying to outgun players at those medium to longer ranges. And when you couple this with running the 4 to 6/7 sensitivity window, 1.2 to 1.6, you're going to be a lot more accurate at longer ranges, and you're going to be winning a lot more gunfights, which is going to be a massive W. Now everything else is going to be the same here. Your aiming advanced settings, you want to expand this. You can see here for the look inversion, what I am recommending you guys doing is going all the way down to your aim response curve type and actually setting this to standard. This is going to be really important to do so because at a moment's notice, they can go ahead and make an adjustment with how we utilize the aim assist here in Black Ops 6, especially if you are running a controller. They've done that in Modern Warfare 3, and they did that at the beginning of Black Ops 6. So as a safety measure, I always recommend playing on standard, so you're not waking up one day after an update and having to relearn how to utilize the aim assist. It's incredibly frustrating. We've had to do that 2 times in 2 years. So as a safety measure, I always recommend playing on standard. But if you do want to go ahead and utilize linear or dynamic, these settings are also going to work. It's just like I said, as a safety measure, standard is going to be what I recommend. Everything else here is going to be the same under that section. Target aim assist is obviously enabled because we are playing with a controller. Motion sensor behavior is turned off, and all the motion sensor advanced settings are going to be set to default as well. Now, under the movings tab, I do recommend going ahead and enabling your tactical sprint assist. You want to go ahead and have this on just so you can get around the map a lot faster. But it is going to be really important that you actually set this sprint assist delay to 0, so there's actually not a delay. You're going to feel this, it's going to be annoying, and you might lose a couple gunfights at close range if you do not reduce this value to 0. So I highly recommend going ahead and doing that immediately. Mantle assist I turn off, crouch assist I turn off, and corner slice I also turn off, and my slide dive behavior is going to be set to hybrid. The reason I go ahead and do this is because I do not want to have any unnecessary movements that I'm not performing manually myself, potentially throwing off a gunfight, because it's going to be incredibly annoying if you accidentally mantle over a box or some type of, cover or obstacle on the map mid gunfight. It can happen if you do not go ahead and set these settings the way I have them. So in order to prevent that from happening, because imagine being like on a 29 or one-off streaks and you're in a gunfight, you actually mantle something and lose. We don't want that to happen, and that's exactly why I have this set the way I do. Everything else here is going to be the same. I've not made any other adjustments under the moving category because everything else is going to be set up just so you're not accidentally getting yourself killed in a gunfight. For combat settings, everything else here is going to be the same as well. I have my C4 detonation set to 1 by 1, just so I don't have to actually throw both of them at the same time to actually go ahead and detonate a C4. And as you guys can see over here, combat advanced settings, these are all going to be the same as well. I've not made any other adjustments. That's pretty much all you need to do under the controller settings when you're talking about combat, movement, aiming, as well as controller. Now, for the graphics settings, the only tab you need to adjust is going to be the view tab. Now, motion reduction preset turned off, arachnophobia mode, I personally have this turned off. You can enable it if obviously you are afraid of spiders. For the FOV, I always recommend playing within that 100 to 120 FOV window. Not only is it going to give you a bigger picture, but when you go ahead and couple this with your ADS field of view set to affected, this is going to mirror whatever optic or iron sight you're running. So it's going to be in that FOV that you select. So if you have a red dot sight or you're running an iron sight, it's going to be the 100 to 120 FOV window, which when you're actually trying to control the recoil of higher recoil weapons and even lower recoil weapons, it's going to give the illusion that your gun has less recoil, but in reality, it's going to be less visual recoil. This is why a lot of players think people are running some type of Cronus or some type of anti-recoil script. It's because they are running the 100 to 120 FOV with affected enabled, so it's going to give the illusion that their weapons have no recoil. This is going to be a setting that you're going to change and see an immediate improvement at your medium to long range gunfights. And remember, when you are running within that 1.2 to 1.6 sensitivity window with this setting enabled, you are going to be like glue on the sticks. Super accurate, very easy to put out at longer ranges. I highly recommend making this change right now. Everything else here is going to be the same. My weapon field of view, I like to go ahead and keep this at default, but I know some people like to go ahead and put this on wide. This is going to be strictly personal preference. It's not going to adjust how the recoil feels in game, so run whatever is your favorite. Vehicle field of view, obviously I've not made an adjustment here, but this is what you definitely want to change. Your world motion blur as well as your weapon motion blur, you must turn these off. The reason we're going to shut this off is because it's going to give you a really weird haze if you have it enabled. And on top of that, if you are playing on a darker map and somebody is in a corner, when you have these enabled and you're trying to actually, scan the area to figure out where people are at, it's going to be difficult to see those players, especially if they're not moving. So I highly recommend going ahead and shutting this setting off. It's some of the worst things to have on in game, and you're going to see a drastic improvement when you disable this. Now your first person camera movement, I like to go ahead and put this at 50%, and third person as well. Doesn't really matter, but I just kind of keep it at 50% as well. The reason we're going to go ahead and do this is because if you are playing, let's say, an OBJ mode or any mode in general, and explosions are going off, the screen isn't going to shake as much as if it was at 100% default. So go ahead and drop this to 50%. It's going to make things a lot more bearable, especially if you like to play on maps like Nuketown, Babylon, or Subsonic. And again, for the inverted flashbang, I actually have this set to on. It's just a lot less annoying because we all know flashbangs incredibly irritating in Call of Duty. That's exactly why I have this enabled. But these are going to be the best settings to run under the graphics tab here in Black Ops 6 Season 3. Check them out. Now, don't sleep on the audio settings. They don't call me ears for nothing. There definitely are some settings you must adjust here in Season 3. Now, for your master gain volume, I recommend having this at 100 so you can hear footsteps and gunfire a lot easier. And for your gameplay music volume, I recommend reducing this to 30 so it's not as loud. The music sounds good, but it can get overbearing. Everything else is going to be the same. Now, what I do recommend doing is putting on headphones bass boost. This is going to be really important, especially if a headset if you bought within the last 7 years. I play with an Astro A40 TR headset that I bought back in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare days. So that goes to show you how durable and reliable this is. This is going to be a lot easier to hear footsteps and gunfire and position where people are at running headphone bass boost. I highly recommend going ahead and checking this out if you have a headset. And even a surround sound stereo system, headphones bass boost is definitely going to be a great choice because you're going to be able to hear, like I said, footsteps and gunfire a hell of a lot easier. Everything else here is going to be the same. I've not made any other adjustments under the audio tab, but for the voice chat, the one thing that I do go ahead and have enabled is because, you know, I make content, I have push to talk because obviously how annoying would be if I was making a video, commentating, and having everybody in the lobby hear what I'm doing. And finally, for the interface settings, the only thing that I do adjust is I toggle over to gameplay HUD and I do set my mini map shape to square. Not only is square going to give you a bigger picture, but it's also going to be a lot easier to read and interpret the minimap here in Black Ops 6, and honestly, any Call of Duty for that matter. If you want a video on how to read and interpret the minimap to figure out where people are going to be spawning at and figure out traffic patterns, let me know down in the comment section. I think I can get that done during Season 3. So these are going to be the best settings to rock here in Black Ops 6 Season 3. Definitely go ahead and adjust your horizontal as well as your vertical stick sensitivity so you can be a lot more accurate at those longer ranges. If this video does help you out, let me know down in the comment section. And as always, drop a like on the vid, subscribe to the channel, turn on those post notifications to stay up to date with any and all best class setups, best settings, tips and tricks, and future settings updates. It's been your boy Ears, and I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. Deuces.